2023 was one big fat failure. It was a huge failure, but I got back up in 2024. What's going on, YouTube? It's me again. Today I just wanted to make a video talking about my journey and what's it like to chase your dream and to follow your dreams. So a little bit about me. I moved to Nashville from Mississippi last year in February, and it was pretty rough. I moved here with $5,000 saved up, and within 2 weeks it was gone. I moved in the middle of the month, so I had to pay a half a month's rent on top of all the opening fees and all that stuff. And then 2 weeks later, I owed them my first month's rent. So then that took a lot of my money, and pretty much from there it was down to zero. But overall, 2023 was not that great. Like I said, I spent most of the year not having any money, and I didn't have furniture up until September, so I was sleeping on the floor in my apartment. I just had a lawn chair. My options were to bring my entertainment center and my PlayStation and forego the bed for a little while, which I thought I was going to get a lot faster than I did, which is why I chose the entertainment center, because I could fit that in my car. And my mom helped me move a couple of things, but she had a lot of my guitars and other stuff like that with her, and there was only so much she could fit in her van as well. But 2023 aside, 2024 being the first year that I've actually been able to really go out and do what I set out to do, it's going okay. There are still a lot of days where you kind of wonder, like, what have I gotten myself into? Why did I do this? What's the point? And I never think to myself, even when I was sleeping on an air mattress and I had nothing in my apartment, even then I never thought, I should just pack it up and leave, or I should quit, or, maybe I should do something else. I still work a 9 to 5, or I guess in my case a 7 to 4, which is nice because I can go out at nighttime and network and meet people. But the downside is I have to be at work at 7. But I digress. As far as chasing my dreams is going, like I said, it's going okay. I'm confident that it's going to happen one day, but it's just a one day at a time kind of deal. When I go out, I meet people who are songwriters, who are maybe songwriters who are in the same boat that I'm in, or maybe they're songwriters who have a publishing deal, or maybe somebody who even has a record deal. And for the most part, all they really say is, you're doing the right thing. Which it's like, I guess that's good. I know that going out and talking to people is the right thing. But then the validation helps with that. But sometimes you're just kind of like, okay, well, I've been doing the right thing for a little while now. Like when does it finally crack? And for me, just full transparency, like my biggest dream is to just be able to do music full time, and I would do music completely for free. If as long as I had somewhere to sleep, I would do music completely for free. My biggest dream, like my overall biggest dream, is to go on my own headlining arena tour, and then but my venue that I want to do the most is the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. That's where I saw the Foo Fighters, I saw Post Malone, I saw Luke Combs, and just all those concerts were just really integral in how I felt about performing, as opposed to maybe just songwriting or just like writers' rounds and things like that. It was really in those moments that I realized, okay, that's what I want to do. But it's hard. It's not for the faint of heart. If you're not willing to sleep on the floor, or you're not willing to struggle, this isn't for you. To be completely honest, if you're not willing to be broke sometimes, if you're not willing to not eat sometimes, this isn't for you. I'm not in it for the money. The money day, if you're looking to get rich, you're probably not going to get rich. Fortunately, I'm not looking to get rich, which I'm not saying that makes me better than anybody who is looking to get rich. I'm just saying that I've met people who have washed out because it doesn't pay enough. You know, here in Nashville, you have to pay to park pretty much everywhere. There's a little restaurant center, and you have to pay to park to go inside Subway. You know, and it's like, why do I have to pay to park to go in Subway? You know, and sometimes paying to park here in Nashville, but depending upon where you're playing, it may cost you $10 to park, it may cost you $20 to park, and if you're playing for several hours, then it's really going to add up, and it's really going to eat into your payday. Now, I have never played any paid gigs here in Nashville. None of the gigs I've done in Nashville have been paid. I've only played songwriter rounds that you're paid in exposure, which is fine by me. It's whatever, you know. I get an opportunity to play, and I'm happy to do it. But people who may be looking to play on Broadway, or just kind of sub in for maybe something that's going on in Midtown, you know, something to consider is having to pay for parking versus how much you're being paid for the gig. And then you might get tip out too. If people decide to tip, you know, you do get tips, and then that would just go however you and your band decide to divvy that up with one another. You know, but you also can't rely on that, because some people just don't tip for live music. A lot of people just don't tip for live music. People just don't tip, period. So you can't rely on that. You know, but you have to do it for the right reason. You have to do it because you love music. I love music, and I don't know nearly enough about it than I should. You know, I've obsessed over the followers I have on TikTok, and the views I get on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and you know, every time I stress about that stuff, it just eats me alive. And you know, and it's unfortunate, because that's kind of a metric of success for the industry. You know, it's like I would give anything to post a video on TikTok, specifically of an original song, and wake up and it has 20 million views, and now, you know, maybe I get a brand deal or something that pays my rent and I can quit my job. You know, it's not easy, and if you're looking for it to be easy, then you're in the wrong industry. You're truly in the wrong industry. I mentioned that before. You know, and overnight success can take 10 years. You know, some of the people that you see blow up overnight, like some of my favorites, like Post Malone, I'm pretty sure he lived in LA for at least a year or two before he blew up with White Iverson. And from my understanding, he was sleeping in his friend's closet. He was paying rent to sleep in his friend's closet just so that he could do that. Lainey Wilson, she lived in an RV here in Nashville for like 11 years. And there was even a time, as she mentioned in her documentary, where she finally had some recognition, and she was winning awards and Songwriter of the Year and things like that, but she couldn't sell tickets to her concerts. You know, I don't care about the awards. I don't care if I'm never even nominated, never even considered for a nomination. If nobody's showing up to my show, that would crush me. You know, having like a 100-person venue, or even just a 50 or 20-person venue, and nobody shows up, you know, that would there's no award in the world, no amount of money in the world that would fill the void of an empty room with my name on the marquee. That would just be so disappointing and devastating. You know, but it's bound to happen. I mean, I've even had shows where, or songwriter rounds, I should say, where nobody was listening. Nobody's listening. Nobody's paying attention. And it's really, really, really awkward when you finish your song that you're really proud of. That, you know, maybe it took a lot out of you to write it, or it took a lot of you to write the song. Or maybe it took a while, or whatever. You're proud of it. Bottom line is you're proud of the song. And then you get done with the song and nobody claps. just sit there in silence until the next person plays. That is so awkward, and that is just like, that is the mental game that you have to play, is people not caring at all about what you're doing. You're the only one in the room who cares about what you're doing. You're the only one who believes in what you're doing. You know, and you just have to maintain that faith that it's going to work out at some point. But it's going to be hard. It just is not going to be easy. And I feel like I'm talking in circles, but at the end of the day, it just is not for the faint of heart. So if you're somebody who's seeing this and you thought, you know, I was just going to be like, hey, I'm chasing my dream, it's going amazing, chase your dream. No, it sucks. Every day it sucks. Every day I think, like, when am I going to write my next song? Why don't I have any ideas? How come record labels aren't looking at me? How come when I talk to people, they don't seem like they care? You know, how come when, you know, you really put yourself out there, people just blow you off? You know, how come when I make a post, it gets 1 like or it gets 4 likes? You know, I have almost 800 followers, and I post a picture or a video, and it gets 3 likes. How? Why? You know, on TikTok, I have, you know, a little over 3,000 followers, and it's just like sometimes, you know, I'll post a video and it stops at 200 views. Now, of course, I've looked into why these things happen, and, you know, that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother video. But, you know, it's still devastating. It still beats you up on the inside when, you know, you put a lot of work into something, and just nothing comes of it. It's just pissed away into the wind, and you just have no idea why. How come? You know, why does no one care? You know, and, you know, some people are gonna have to go through that for 10 years. Some people are gonna have to go through that for 10 days. It's just the way that it works. It's just the way that it works, and it's unfortunate, and it sucks. You know, but you just got to be in it to win it. You know, when I first moved to Nashville, I was naive enough to think to myself that, you know, within 6 months, my life is going to be exactly what I dreamed it was going to be. I'm going to take over the city, and I'm going to be the best thing that ever happened. And boy, could I have not been more wrong. I could not have been more wrong. You know, it was just, 2023 was one big fat failure. It was a huge failure. You know, but I got back up in 2024, and I've made friends, and I've made, I guess, like, the seed to connections, but I haven't really quite made my connections yet. You know, and over the years, I've participated in probably 8, 10, or 12 competition style talent things. I've lost every single one of them, and I've only placed twice, and both times I was second place. And the very first time was in high school in a talent show when nobody knew that I played guitar or sang, so it caught people off guard. The second time that I placed second, there was only 3 of us competing, so I was gonna place. Didn't matter which one I got, I was gonna place, because there was only 3 people competing. You know, and I don't even remember what I played now, but everything else I don't place, or I'm not even acknowledged, or my performance is picked apart, you know, and it's devastating. It sucks, but, you know, if I had let that first time that I got second place just crush me, then I wouldn't be here. But there's nothing else I want to do. There's nothing else I'm good at. I've already said that. You don't really realize how much progress you've made until you look back. Because I think back a year ago today, I don't know what today is, but we're in June, and a year ago today I was sleeping on the floor, and I had just started the job that I work now, and I was still sleeping on the floor, had no furniture, and if I remember correctly, I only had ramen noodles to eat. That's all I had, because it was super cheap, and I was coming off of like 3 weeks of not having a job. So I definitely didn't have any money. When I moved here, I had a sales job, and I quickly realized that I was not built to do sales, because this was door-to-door sales, and I'm already awkward. The last thing I want to be is awkward at your house. And so I decided to quit that job, and I did DoorDash. For about 2 weeks, I did really, really well, and then after that, it just really, really, really fell off. And so I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And the only job posting that I found that even reached out to me was booting cars for $25 an hour. And I applied reluctantly because I didn't have a job. I reluctantly got the job. I reluctantly did the job. But it turned out after a month, you were going to be paid commission. And the shift that I worked, I didn't really have to boot anybody. So if I'm not booting anybody, I'm not making any money. And so I just didn't want to do the job. I'm not really good with confrontation, and a lot of people just get really, really angry when they get booted. Go figure. And I just happened to fall into the job I have now, which I was violently unqualified for, but I got it anyways. And I've made it work for over a year now, and it's just hard to believe that I've been there a year. You know, it's not my dream job. To be honest, I don't particularly care for it, you know, but it pays my bills, and you know, it's whatever. It has a good enough schedule that I can work with. The only downside is that because it is Monday to Friday, if I need to do something on a weekday, then I can't do it on a weekday during the day, or I have to take off or something, which is not ideal, but you know, this is what it is. I mean, that's what it is. Chasing your dream. Chasing your dream is sacrificing. You don't sleep. You don't eat. Sometimes you don't talk to people that you want to talk to because you have to talk to people that you need to talk to. Sometimes you don't go out just because you're just so tired from not sleeping and not eating. And sometimes you force yourself to go out because you've convinced yourself to stay in so many times. But you know, you have to keep putting yourself out there and putting yourself out there and putting yourself out there and putting yourself out there. It's exhausting. It's tiring. You know, and just being creative is tiring. You know, I wish that I could just sit at home and just be creative all day. You know, but I have to go to work. And between you and me, I hate working. I'm not built for working. You know, I'm not built to work behind a desk, and I'm not built to work with my hands. Call me lazy, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's not what I want to do, and I know that. You know, so you know, it's just a journey. It's a journey, and if you're willing to stick it out, it will eventually work out. But you know, the moment that you start telling yourself that you're going to quit or start considering other options, that's when you're going to fail. That's when you're going to fail. Plan B is to make plan A work. There is no plan B. You just have to keep moving every single day. And it's not easy. It's not easy. You know, and there are days, like I said before, that I wish I could just wake up and my life has just changed forever. But I've begun to accept that this may take me a while. So be it. I don't have anything else to do. I don't have anything better to do. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's what it's like to chase your journey. Struggle. Doubt.